And you're welcome back. It's the very first working day of 2019. Many struggling through traffic already to make it to the office. I know you don't miss this, but this is how we make the world go round, right? But we're here with you. For those of you getting ready to leave home, and those of you getting ready for yet another day at home because your holiday is not over. You lucky, lucky, lucky people. But today we're going to do an online review of all the stories that have made it into the news. We'll start, of course, with myjoyonline.com. And we have the following stories this morning. Letter from Africa, Beyonce, Bashir, and Big Brother to dominate 2019. I think this is one of the opinion pieces about what we can look forward to in 2019. Also, Multimedia Group, now official media partner of 3 music awards. Is going to be brilliant. Ghana's first private English-speaking radio station. That's Joy FM. You know that. And of course, our media affiliates, Joy Prime, Hits FM, have all been confirmed as official headline media partners for the Ghanaian Music Award scheme known as 3 Music Awards. It's going to be big. It's going to be better in 2019. All right. Also, long winding queues greet patrons at Love FM Party in the Park. You know, when your brand is strong, people queue around the block for it. And that's what happened in Kumasi when the entire city, it seems, came out to celebrate with Love FM in Ratri Park. Beautiful place, beautiful day. 4 arrested over alleged rape to death of plantain chips seller. This is a shocking story that emerged yesterday. More details on myjoyonline.com. Buokrum is where this happened. 4 people, including a middle-aged woman, have been arrested for this. Disturbing, disturbing. NDC must return to 31st December revolution values or forget it. Nuruddin Idrisu is the one who said this. He's an aspirant for the position of flag bearer in the NDC, and he spoke on this matter not so long ago and talks about how the values of probity, accountability, transparency, and indeed discipline must be restored in order for NDC to have any chance of coming back into government. Right, what's next? Aha, Stanbic Bank takes over Bank of Baroda. And, well, takes over is being used kind of loosely here, but that is perhaps the best description of what has happened. We'll get more details in a moment. That's an important event on the banking landscape. Barack Obama shares year-end favorites list. Oh, yeah. He was always known as the cool president, wasn't he? So, yes, his favorites list is generating some buzz as he declares who he thinks in 2018 was aces in his book. Oh, Kader Khan, veteran Bollywood actor, dies at 81. And boy, what a catalogue of work for this man. He died in hospital in Canada, and he had been ill for quite a while. But this man, my gosh, his face has dominated Indian films since I mean, before I was born. Oh gosh! And in fact, most of the time when I think of an Indian film, this dude's face is somewhere in the frame. Shaka, yes. Oh my gosh. Oh, 81 years old. Well done. Congratulations on a life well lived and a legacy that will outlive you for generations. Okay, Chiriponi is the location where security has been beefed up after renewed violent clashes. Military and police working together have set up more of a presence in that area. And I guess these are the big ones on myjoyonline.com. And the pastor who was killed by his nephew, you know, his family have been speaking about it, and there's a story on that as well on myjoyonline.com. Also, yesterday we reported 70% of Komfo Anokye Teaching Hospital beds need replacement. But let's go back and talk about a couple of those stories. Let's go back up. Let's go back up. Let's have a look. I think we can talk about this one. Stanbic Bank taking over Bank of Baroda, and then we'll see what else is out there. But Norvan, it's good to have you. Good to see you. How are you doing?
Yes, I'm fine, thank you.
First official working day.
Official working day.
Yes,
We've been here already.
Yeah.
We always work.
Even Sundays, official working day. Yeah. But naturally, business activity is resuming across the city.
A lot of them, close to over 50%, will be working today.
Yeah. While banks will be open?
Yes. You know, they've always been opened. I mean, it's quite apart from the holidays within the period. I mean, they've worked every day that they are supposed to.
The ATM sucked my card and wouldn't give it back to me at some point during the holidays. So I've been looking forward to today.
Lots of money you needed then, I know, right?
Yeah, well, technology, there's an upside and a downside always. All right, so Bank of Baroda. Okay, now there are, let's be fair, there are many watching us who might not have actually heard of Bank of Baroda. But it is an award-winning bank in Ghana.
I mean, forget about even just the award-winning. It is one, if not probably the first three profitable banks, if you want to talk about them. This is the bank that its books are so clean. I mean, I was talking to an expert last night, and then he said, look, I can say their books are sweet.
Wow.
There are no issues. Everything is just intact. So you could describe them as a solvent bank that was just not interested in, you know, the way Ghana wanted to go in terms of the recapitalization to 400 million, which will stay put, and then you needed to look for extra money to work. You understand? So the various processes that we're going through, they were just not interested. They felt, I mean, that wasn't going to serve their purpose. And this particular bank has only, I think, 2 branches. And they were serving the Indian community because they came from India. And so
there is a Bank of Baroda still in India?
Yes.
Right. So this is it is an international bank, multinational.
Exactly.
Basically.
Helping.
Like Standard Chartered or, you know,
you
Barclays.
Talk of Barclays, you can talk of, you know, Stanbic itself, which is from South Africa, but has some Chinese investments also in there. You know, so that's how it is. And they were serving the Indian community, helping, especially even with the transfers from Ghana and to India and to other Indian communities across the world. So in terms of the Indian community and their business they were doing here, Bank of Baroda was right in the helm of affairs, helping them in whatever they needed to do. Don't forget that we have, I mean, quite a few very big Indian businesses here in Ghana.
Now, I know them because since 2000
they came in 2008.
Well, since 2014, when I started hosting the Ghana Banking Awards, every year they have won at least one award. And the award that they tend to always pick up is for the, I think it's the best mortgage or best loan facility. So it's basically like the cheapest loan or the best interest rate. And they have it. They win it hands down because, you know, these things are calculated by KPMG. They go there and do surveys to figure out, you know, what you are offering and the rate at which it's being offered, how much it will cost the customer. And hands down, without even trying, every year they win. You talked about how clean, how sweet their books are. This is a multinational bank.
Yes.
And a move by the Bank of Ghana has been, well, they've given it a vote of no confidence, if you will. They've looked at it and said, this is not how to do business. I'm out. What does that say? You know, what does that say about how our regulator is seeking to proceed with this minimum capitalization thing? You
know, some have said there are those who have given thumbs up to it. There are others who also have different view or a different view of this particular move by the central bank. And especially when this time around we are saying minimum capital requirement proper, not, you know, capitalization. Because, you know, if we said 120 million capitalization, it means that you are allowed to use the funds in business transactions, in advancing loans, and then in whatever that you're doing as a bank. But where the minimum capital is put there, it means that you ought to ensure that at any point in time, you have that 400 million intact sitting there whilst you look for extra money to undertake the businesses. Some have also argued over the period that this would prevent future increases in the minimum capital requirement, because it means that if I am a bank and I have 400 million already sitting there, I need to look for extra money. So you can have banks who can have their capitalization up to, let's say, 1 billion or 2 billion or 5 billion, 600, whatever. Because if you need to look for money to do the business, so you either, mop up more deposits, or you get fresh capital also brought in by your shareholders. In fact, this is on the minds of all the banks that have met this 400 million recapitalization, and they are thinking and they are asking themselves, okay, so where else can we get extra money to move forward our business? It's not just the fact that you have met, because now the rules of the game have changed.
Yeah.
And that's what is happening.
Now, there is that basic and fundamental argument that, look, this 400 million that you're asking me to put to one side, it only becomes useful if I fail.
we believe you would not even fail if you are able to meet it.
Yeah, but
that is what they believe. Let me not say I believe, because I'm not part of the banks.
But that is the point. You are saying that by being able to find 400 million and put it to one side, I have guaranteed success.
It's not to say you've guaranteed success, but obviously you need to work harder to achieve whatever you need to achieve. No. And that is also, remember, one of the things, Kojo, that people have said or advanced is that we need banks that can also get involved in big ticketing transactions. So let's look at the bonds that we issued, the cocoa syndicated loan, and all that. A lot of the times, it has to take Stanchart, Stanbic Bank, and all the rest to do it. Our local banks don't have the muscle, if I'll put it, to participate in these things. But if you're a local bank,
extra burden.
But if you are a local bank and today you have been able to raise 400 million, then you're telling me that you would be able to develop the muscle to also bring in extra cash and then be part of some of these syndicated, products or projects.
They've raised it by the skin of their teeth. That's the first and most important thing. And the second thing is that if this is a reaction to the crisis we've had, then it's difficult to draw a direct connection, because these banks that have been consolidated, it wasn't necessarily because they didn't have money or they were broke. It's because they were breaking rules.
And also they had a lot of challenges, and of course they were heading to
they were going that way because they were breaking rules. Let's take Unibank, for example. They were where they were because they did the wrong thing over and over and over again. I won't even talk about the fact that the regulator, basically, they couldn't have done the wrong thing if the regulator didn't allow it, or if the regulator wasn't weak. Okay? I won't talk about that. But there's a catalogue of violations that led to their position. It's not just that they were unable to raise money or they didn't know how to do the banking business,
but could you, let's
make a profit.
Let's put this thing in perspective. Bank of Baroda. What is the strength in terms of numbers of the Indian community in Ghana? And so if I was the managing director of that particular bank and I'm sitting there and you're asking me to raise this amount, I'm like, really, what are the numbers? And is this of use to us? I mean, really, do we really need that kind of money? Because I already have the 120 million, and then you're asking me to look for 280. And this time you're saying that 280, when I add it up to the 120,
I can't touch it.
That is supposed to be aside. So I'm sure that these are some of the questions that they probably, as management of the bank, asked themselves. And they were like, look, you know what, guys? Really, we don't need this. I mean, we have a very small community we're dealing with. We have not been very much interested in going wild and opening branches or doing a lot of things as others are doing. Our major focus and interest was to serve the Indian community in Ghana, which we were doing. And so if the numbers cannot reach, let's say, 200,000 or even 1 million or 2 million out of the 30 million population of the country, why go bring in that much? Do we as a business want to now begin to expand or not? If we don't have that vision, because the Indian community virtually are within Kumasi and Accra. and that's why they are not in other regions. And they have that, I think, just 2 branches that they do have.
So as a bank that had clean books, was making profit and winning awards, would it be fair to describe them as the innocent bystander that has been caught in the crossfire in this shake-up by the
yes,
Bank
I would
of Ghana?
say that.
They are innocent victims
I'll
here.
say that, and that's the reason why, I mean, when this started, there were arguments that let's rather begin to change the model of minimum capital requirement. Let's look at there's a system where we do it case by case, or let's categorize it. So within the SME space, let's say 200 million, or still keep it at 120 or 150 million, and then let's move to the other space. Let's put this one. So you can have banks, depending on where you want to play. So you can have about 3 or 4 or up to 5 different categories in terms of the minimum capital requirement. So if you decide to take the lowest, it means that you're expected to, play in that space. If you want to move on further, that is it. But the higher you are, you can play in all the spaces that are below you. And these were arguments that were made. And the central bank, in its wisdom, thought, no, let's have, a cross board. Because when you also do that, one of the challenges you can have, that Kojo would like to deal with Bank B. But what Kojo wants to do is actually supposed to be in the space of Bank C. So he's then forced to have to move his account or open an extra account, probably which he doesn't need, at that other end, and then go and do that kind of business. So, I mean, let's have just a cross-board. It's universal banking license everybody has, or everybody is holding, so let's keep it at that level. And I think that's what they did.
I'm surprised, though, that there aren't other banks in similar circumstances to Bank of Baroda in terms of their size or their niche market that they are serving. Aren't there other
remember Construction Bank?
Yes.
They decided to go voluntarily, just as Baroda in August, decided that, told the Bank of Ghana, look, we want to go. And why have we come to this point where Stanbic Bank needs to, just as you said, using the word take over? What are they taking over? What they're actually taking over is the customers. I mean, the bank is folding, and they are paying all the severance packages to the workers and all that. Stanbic is not taking over branches or anything, because if we're moving, we have customers, people on loan books, we have people's deposits, we have certain transactions that we probably have initiated and we haven't completed. We can't say because we're folding up. I mean, do you want to say people should come for their money? No, or what? Or those transactions, and how do you recover the loans that you have taken? So somebody needs to take over those ones. So that's exactly what Stanbic is taking over, the books. So that there are no assets in terms of buildings that's like the head office, which is just at Adabraka here, or talk of their vehicles that they have. That is a different conversation they can have with Stanbic if they want to, and say, oh, Charlie, we have these assets, we'd like to sell it to you. You understand?
But as of now, what Stanbic Bank is taking over is the portfolio.
The portfolio, exactly. The books.
So customers will continue to get the same sort of terms and deals from Stanbic now, or will they vary these terms?
I think that there have been discussions in that area, and for Stanbic to agree, then it really fits into. I want to believe that what Stanbic is doing in terms of their portfolio and everything, and then you look at that of Baroda, it's something that fits in, and that's the reason why they have agreed to give it to. Because don't forget that First Atlantic, there were other banks that were interested in Baroda. They wanted to take over their portfolio, but they felt that Stanbic is the best choice and the best option that they can have that can still serve the interest of their customers. So we are hoping that this announcement was supposed to have been done on Monday, 31st, but it wasn't done. There's some few glitches. They decided to hold on. We're hoping that today this announcement will be done. I am very much aware, and I do know, and I have seen a part of it. I would say the statements that were supposed to have been released, on Monday, but they had to hold on. So we're hoping that today, as they agreed, this statement will be released. And when it's released, if you're a customer of Bank of Baroda, welcome to another bank, which is Stanbic. That is where you belong now. That's not to say I'm speaking as a Stanbic official. I mean,
you said it so well. I feel they should have offered you the job. All right. So
Kojolabi will beat me. I'm sure when he hears this, or when Andani hears this, he'll say, oh, I mean, really.
Let's have a look at a couple of other things on myjoyonline.com. The story of the plantain chip seller who passed. If we can open it up, I want to see a few of the details and share them. It's a bit of a sad one. The information came to us yesterday. A body was found. 4 people have been arrested. One of them is a middle-aged woman. Bokrum police have nabbed them, and they are suspects in the death of a 37-year-old plantain chip seller, Naomi Opoku. And sadly, she was described by many as a drunkard. But they believe she was raped to death after a bout of drinking in a bar at Bokrum Limex Quarry suburb on Saturday, December 30. They found the body in the area. Now, the police found that the body was dumped there after she had been raped to death. Now, the 4 were picked up on Monday. The belief is that the deceased was selling, as usual, in the area. She got drunk at a spot that she often goes to. Somebody helped her into a room in the house where the drinking spot is. According to the reports, some siblings came back to the room and found that the deceased had been raped by one of the suspects and others who are at large. So actually, this is not over. They're still looking for others. And then these siblings were advised by their grandmother to go and dump the body when they realized that she had died sometime after the rape. And so that is what they did. That's why they have been arrested, these siblings. The deceased had a fiancé who reported that she was missing. And they found the body later the following morning, very early. Very sad. According to the police, there were no marks on the body, and they've deposited it at the Komfo-Anokye Teaching Hospital. You know, I've always thought that it takes a rather despicable type of human to commit a rape. Because rape is not about sex. It's not about sexual gratification. It's about power.
Yeah.
It's about seeking to impose power over another human being and doing that through the act of sex. So you desire to dominate a person, but you are doing it to a person who cannot fight back. So it's not actual dominance. I mean, you are, and in this case, this is a person who obviously has a disease, because alcoholism is a disease.
Yeah.
A person who has a disease, and you are taking advantage of her in her state of illness.
Yeah.
When she has had a drink, because she is addicted to it, so she's had a drink and is intoxicated, you help her into a room, rape her to death. I mean, the kind of violence involved,
it's crazy.
In raping someone to death. I don't want it to be the kind of thing we're imagining this morning, but to put it in context, rape itself is a brutal and barbaric act.
Unacceptable.
But to rape a person until they cease to live.
It's quite dangerous. I mean, it's just a sad news that we had yesterday. And for me, I asked myself a simple question. What was going through the minds of these guys who decided in turns to rape a woman that was drunk and was not in the mood or not ready for any of what they were doing? What did you seek to achieve? What were they seeking to achieve, if I'll put it rightly? I mean, what, you think you had pleasure?
That's the thing I'm
something that
about.
You probably were doing in a hurry.
How can you have
something
pleasure?
You were doing in a hurry, watching your back, ensuring that nobody was watching or nobody was coming? Really?
And I mean, the person on whom you are performing the act is drunk.
Just lying there.
How is, anyway? But you see, for me, the thing is that so you can't account for what happens in one person's mind, okay? This is why there are some madmen who commit some very heinous crimes, okay? Because certain processes are going on in their mind, certain thought processes that you and I can't really relate to. There's something quite off going on in their minds, and it causes them to do despicable things. But when 4 people line up with the same despicable thought, I mean, what a coincidence that all 4 of them are equally sick to the point where they would enjoy doing such a thing together, one after the other.
I mean, so it tells you that they themselves, just as you said, are not well, and needs to be checked.
You see, it speaks to, for me, it makes me worry that it is a mindset that is more general than we think.
Yeah.
Because for 3 or 4 people to come together and all think this is okay.
Kojo, I'm just asking myself, how many other ladies have these men done the same thing to? You
or other men, because there's got to be a large population in order for 4 of them to have come together and done this. There must be a larger population of men who do this.
Our kind of society we live in, and the fear of being victimized and being seen as, yes, that is Ajwa who was. So some of these things happen and the women don't talk about it. They keep it. You know, it's like, how am I going to say it? In Chi, me kokane sing. Baby Sam say, me koye den one more damn. You understand? Meanwhile, they probably will lure you in there, and some stand at the gate and they do it intense.
Shocking.
You understand? So in that same area, the same people, I'm sure that if they have to allow people to come forward, you'll be amazed as to, you know, what these people have done. You understand?
And here's the worst part, and another reason why a lot of the time these things happen and never get reported. You know, this is a plantain chips seller, economically in no position. If she goes to report this and seeks an investigation, that is if she had survived, you know, and she had decided to go and report this, she would have to go to a hospital and pay for a rape kit, to, you know, what's it called?
Assessment to be done.
Yeah. For me, that's the sickest part of this. Victims of sexual crime, who are almost always women, who very often come from, you know, low income brackets, have to pay. I mean, in this country, we say that if a crime is committed, it's committed against the state, right?
Yeah.
That's how our justice system works.
It works, yeah.
Okay. So somebody has raped me. You say, okay, the thing now is not even, the crime wasn't committed against me, it was committed against you, the state. However, I must pay the victim. I must pay for you, the state, to gather evidence in the crime that was committed against you, the state. I must pay. I must go and find money to go and pay the hospital to perform this invasive process of gathering evidence from my body. My body is a crime scene, and I must pay for you to process that crime scene.
Yeah.
For me, it is the biggest injustice. Being raped is unjust in itself, but for the state to then slap you in the face by saying pay for me to investigate, for me it is the most heinous end you can imagine for someone who has been through the ordeal of rape.
Yeah, and
somebody in government, the Ministry of Gender, Children, Social Protection, I don't know how much they have to do, but they should add this. They should add this if they want to make a difference. Please remove that need to pay for you know, a medical exam for those who are victims of sexual abuse. All right. Now, in a moment, we'll bring you AM Business. It's good you're here for this. I'll tell you what it's all about. But before that, today is the birthday of one of our most beloved colleagues, Bernice Abu Bedulansa. Is another year older today, and she is, I mean, she's so well loved by all of us here at Multimedia.
Yeah.
She brightens the room all the time, and she's so good at her job. We all enjoy working with her ever so much. But we managed to invade her social media and steal a few pictures of her. Let's have a look at how Bernice has evolved over the ages. Oh, look at her little face. Yes, yes, her little birthday face. But it gets better. We have some more interesting clips of her. Come on. This is a little too...
Yeah.
These are all too nice. Let's see Bernice in her element. Hey, this was at the beginning when she first got into media, I guess, because she looks quite young here, doesn't she?
Even more younger.
That's her with that. I believe that's her sister.
Yeah.
Her sister. Yeah. Indeed. That's Zoe. Oh gosh. Oh boy.
Yeah.
Did she take this in the bathroom?
When the young ladies decided or continue to grow to become women.
Indeed.
So you see the transition. Yes, so that is the process.
She started somewhere.
Yeah.
Oh, happy birthday to you, Bernice Abu Baidu Lanza. We love you very much. Live long.